When we look at Amazing Grace, we notice, and it's hard to see down here because my picture's in the way, so maybe I will move it. Let's see, can I move it? No, I can't move it. These quarter notes that you see down here represent do, da, di, do, da, di. And if we scroll down, the eighth notes represent do, ta, da, ta, di, ta, do, ta, da, ta, di, ta. So let's just start and get a feel for the song and clap do, da, di over and over. I'm looking at this pattern down here with these colored in circles with stems. These are quarter notes. So we're going to clap 3 quarter notes in a row. Nowhere in the song do you actually see that, but that's the underlying feeling. So there's no measure with just 3 quarter notes. But anyway, let's clap. 1. Can you clap it? Do, da, di. Clap that over and over, and I'm going to sing the song. Let me see if I can get the starting pitch. Hold on. Okay, you clap do, da, di, do, da, di. The song goes like this. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. And at the end, there's this thing called a fermata. That just means you can hold it even longer if you wanted to. So let me go back to getting some tools out so that we can write down the notes to Amazing Grace. Well, first the rhythm, sorry, don't mean to get ahead of myself. Let's talk about the rhythm of Amazing Grace. We have this underlying feeling of 3 beats per measure, do, da, di, or 1, 2, 3. I'm going to use numbers because I think that's what most musicians use and it makes it easier for them. The very first note of Amazing Grace comes on a pickup. So we have this imaginary 1, 2, 3, and you come in on beat 3. So I'm going to write a 3 here. Now, if there's 3 beats in every measure, and this quarter note gets the beat, and we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What is this note worth? This half note. I even put it in here to kind of show you how it lines up. This quarter note comes in on beat 1, and it is held for beat 2. Okay, so we have 3, 1, 2. All right, so it's held into 2. Then these are eighth notes. Eighth notes. So if this represents beat 1, and this represents beat 2, and this represents beat 3. For eighth notes, the way we write it with numbers is 1. Instead of do, ta, da, ta, di, ta, we would say, for every upbeat, we'd say and. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So that's how that would go in the song. So up here we have 3, 1, 2, 3 and. Okay, and then we have another half note. It's the start of a new measure. So it starts on beat 1 and it's held into beat 2 because we had that here also. And this, what is that? Let's see. If every measure has 3 beats, 1, 2, 3, that quarter note comes on beat 3. So far, this sounds like this. Ready, go. 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. How about this one? Comes in on beat 1, then is held into beat 2, and then this. So we have a half note. I think I said half note. I hope I said half note. Half note, open circle with a stem held for 2 whole beats. Comes in on beat 1, held into beat 2. And then we have a quarter note. Looks just like here. Comes in on beat 3. How about here? Starts on beat 1, held into beat 2. And this comes on beat 3. How about here? Another half note starting the measure, starts on beat 1, held into beat 2, and now we have something like we saw in the very first full measure of the song. We see eighth notes. So this is just like we saw down here. If an eighth note falls on the first beat, we could write 1 N. If it falls on the second beat, 2 N. If it falls on the third beat, 3 N. Well, this one is falling on the third beat. So it's 3 and. And this one, another half note, starts on beat 1, held into beat 2. And then we have this quarter note coming in on beat 3, because every measure is 3 beats. And then this one starts on beat 1, but we didn't talk about that in this song yet. We've had it in other songs when you have a dotted half note. A dotted half note. Look, it takes up the space of 1, 2, 3 whole beats. That dotted half note takes up that whole entire measure. So it starts on beat 1. It's held into beat 2. It's held into beat 3. And get this, that note is tied to the note, a note just like it. High D tied to high D. It's still held. Now this is a half note over here. So that dotted half is held for 3 beats plus another 2 beats. Let's try and clap everything from the beginning. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ready, clap. 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Here comes the hardest part of the song. It always seems to happen towards the second or the middle of the song, right? We have this note come in on beat 3, because this was held for 2 beats, right? 1, 2, 3, 1. Ah, that's a tricky one. Let's look at the top. I wrote it out up here. This is one of those tricky, oops. Why am I still writing? Sorry, let me erase that. One of these really tricky rhythms is right up at the top. Okay, back to writing. Okay. So here, instead of 1, 2, 3, and it's like imagining 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, except you hold the note on 1 and you come in on the end of 2. So what is that like? We have 1, 2, and 3 and. Let's try that again. This pattern right here. This pattern is so tricky. So we're going to clap 1, 2, and 3 and. See? 1, 2, and 3 and. Only clap on 1, and of 2, 3, and of 3. Ready, clap. 1, 2, and 3 and. Let's do it again. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3 and. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3 and. Ready, and go. 1, 2, and 3 and. Ready, and do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Ready, again. 1, 2 and 3 and. So we have that here. 1, 2. This comes in on the end of 2. So I'm going to just put a 2 in parentheses so you know that that comes in right after the 2. So we have 1, and this is really held. 1 and 2 and 3 and it's just cut off a little shorter than these half notes. It's a little shorter than a half note. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay? And then this looks just like what we had all over the beginning. 1, held into beat 2, and this comes on beat 3. Ooh, what does this look like? A dotted quarter note followed by an eighth note and followed by 2 more eighth notes. These are all the same note, whether it has a flag or a bar. It just makes it easier to write rather than writing little flag, little flag, little flag. If there's 2 right next to each other, they just kind of stick it together. When there's an odd man out, they're by themselves, okay? So here we have the same 1, 2, and 3, and. So we can write down 1. We're holding it for beat 2, but we don't hold it that long because we come in on and of 2, then on beat 3, and then on and of 3. So let's clap that. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and ready, and go. 1, 2, and 3, and ready. Do it one more time. 1, 2, and 3, and. And then we have this half note starting on beat 1, held into beat 2. Then we come in on beat 3. So it looks like 1, 2, 3. Now we have a note, another half note. 1, held into beat 2. And then 2 eighth notes. 3, and. And then we have another one just like here. 1, 2, 3. And then we end the song just like we held a note up here for 5 beats. We hold this for 5 beats, but there's a fermata, so you can hold it even longer than 5 beats. A fermata means like, hold it and just hold it and just enjoy the sound of it for even more than what we write. So we have 1, held into beat 2, held into beat 3, and yes, it's tied because it's the same pitch being connected into beat 1, and then again into beat 2, but there's also a fermata, so you can just kind of go on forever if you feel like it. Let's try and clap the rhythm of the whole song using numbers. 1, 2, 3. Oh, let me make this bigger. I'll make it bigger so that you can see it better. Okay, so let's view full screen. And I'm going to make it even bigger. Nope, that's wrong. Hold on. View full screen. There we go. All right, let's clap the whole thing. 1, 2, ready, clap. 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. But there's a fermata, so you can just keep holding it if you feel like it. Bravo. Remember this tricky passage. Can you try this tricky rhythm here one last time? 1, 2, go. 1, 2, and 3, and do it again. 1, 2, and 3, and that happens here, and that happens here, and that is what kids sometimes can't pass the song over because it is so hard. May the force be with you. You're wonderful.